Witchcraft and Superstition in the Middle Ages. The year is 1349. Crops have failed. The Black Death has returned. A woman is dragged from her home, accused of calling demons to poison the village well. She's beaten, tied to a post, and burned alive as her neighbors cheer. Her crime, misfortune. Her accusers, fear. This is not fantasy, it's history. The Middle Ages were ruled not just by kings and knights, but by fear of the unknown. When reason failed, superstition took its place. Today, we uncover the terrifying world of witchcraft, superstition, and paranoia in medieval Europe. When we think of the Middle Ages, we imagine castles, swords, and chivalry. But behind that world of stone and steel lay another, a world of darkness and dread, where invisible forces ruled daily life. A bad harvest, a curse, a dying cow, a witch, a storm at sea, the devil's hand. The medieval mind didn't separate the physical and the spiritual. Everything, disease, weather, even love, was thought to be shaped by God, the saints, or darker powers. Let's step inside that world and discover how superstition shaped the lives, fears, and fates of millions. The supernatural worldview. In medieval Europe, faith was everything. The church taught that the world was a battlefield between good and evil. Angels and demons fought unseen wars over human souls. Every sickness, every accident, every coincidence had meaning. There was no luck, only divine will, or demonic influence. People prayed for protection from the evil eye, believed in curses, and hung charms to ward off malicious spirits. Iron nails over doorways, garlic at windows, holy water sprinkled on beds. Even educated men carried relics or protective symbols. Fear was constant, and superstition offered control in a world that made no sense. Folk magic and everyday witchcraft. Before witchcraft became a crime, folk magic was a part of daily life. Village healers, midwives, and cunning folk used herbs, charms, and whispered words to heal the sick or bless the newborn. These people weren't evil, they were trusted. But their power made them dangerous. A woman who could cure a fever with herbs could also, it was said, cause one. A man who could find lost cattle might also summon demons to steal them. When times were good, these wise folk were respected. When times were bad, they were blamed. Signs, omens, and everyday fear. The medieval world was full of signs and portents. People saw meaning in everything. A black cat crossing your path, a bird flying into your home, lightning striking a church tower. Dreams, too, were taken seriously. A dream of fire meant war. A dream of water foretold death. Even the phases of the moon influenced when people planted crops, traveled, or married. Superstition wasn't fringe, it was culture. Even kings consulted astrologers before going to war. The line between religion and magic blurred constantly. The church versus the unknown. For centuries, the Catholic Church tolerated superstition, as long as it didn't threaten its authority. But as Europe grew more fearful, after plagues, famines, and wars, the church began to crack down. By the 13th century, church law declared that magic of any kind, healing charms, weather spells, love potions, was heresy. To the church, anyone claiming secret power was either lying or serving Satan. The Inquisition, originally created to fight heresy, turned its eyes toward sorcery. It was the beginning of a nightmare, the birth of the witch. Before the 1300s, the word witch meant little more than wise person. But after centuries of chaos, a new image emerged, the witch as servant of the devil. This idea was shaped by fear and by books like the Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches, written in 1487. It claimed witches made pacts with Satan, flew through the night, and cursed the innocent. In truth, most witches were poor women, widows or outsiders, people with little power and few protectors. But the myth grew, and it spread like plague. Witch trials and hysteria. Witch trials didn't begin in the Middle Ages, but the groundwork was laid here. As communities collapsed under disease, hunger, and war, fear needed a target. If your crops failed, it must be because your neighbor had cursed them. If your child died suddenly, someone must have wished it. If lightning struck your barn, the devil had help. Accusations spread through whispers. Torture pulled confessions. Trials ended with burnings. In some towns, entire families were wiped out. Fathers, mothers, children, all branded as witches. The Devil's Toolbox. Proof of witchcraft. How did you prove someone was a witch? The methods were as cruel as they were absurd. The swimming test. If they floated, they were guilty. If they drowned, innocent. The Devil's Mark. Any mole, scar, or birthmark could be evidence of a pact with Satan. Confession under torture. Iron boots, thumb screws, and the rack ensured that anyone would eventually admit guilt. Once accused, escape was almost impossible. Even death couldn't clear your name. Executed witches were often exhumed and reburned to ensure their souls were damned forever. Fear as power. Why did the fear of witchcraft last so long? Because it was useful. For rulers, witch hunts were a way to unite people through fear. For the church, it reinforced control. If the devil was real, people needed priests. And for neighbors, accusing a witch could eliminate a rival or explain the unexplainable. Witchcraft became a mirror for human fear and a tool for human cruelty. Science begins to challenge superstition. By the late Middle Ages, cracks began to appear in the old ways of thinking. Scholars started questioning why disease spread and why natural disasters occurred. Early scientists, like Roger Bacon and Albertus Magnus, argued that nature followed laws, not magic. Their ideas were dangerous, even heretical, but they lit a spark that would grow into the Renaissance and eventually the scientific revolution. As reason spread, superstition slowly lost its grip, but it would take centuries and countless innocent lives before Europe truly left witch hunts behind. The shadow that remains. By 1500, witch hysteria was still growing and would explode in the 16th and 17th centuries. But its roots, the fear of the unknown, the hunger for someone to blame, were medieval. And that's what makes it so chilling. These weren't monsters or madmen. They were ordinary people, terrified of the world they couldn't understand. Even today, the echoes remain. We may not burn witches anymore, but we still fall prey to rumors, panic, and fear of the unseen. Superstition never truly dies. It just changes shape. Conclusion. The story of medieval witchcraft isn't about magic. It's about fear, power, and the cost of ignorance. The same minds that built cathedrals and illuminated manuscripts also condemned neighbors as witches. The Middle Ages gave us beauty and brutality in equal measure, and witchcraft sat at the crossroads of both. If you found this glimpse into medieval superstition fascinating, hit like and subscribe to TorchLit History, where we explore the dark corners of the past and shed light on the truths that shaped our world. Comment below. Would you have survived the witch hunts or been accused? Next episode, the Crusades explained why they really happened. Because history's scariest stories are the ones that were true.